I told my husband I'd been sleeping with someone else while we sat across from each other at the kitchen table, hands shaking, heart pounding. I expected rage, tears, maybe even him packing a suitcase and slamming the door, but instead, he just stared at me, blank-faced, like I'd confessed I'd forgotten to buy milk. Then he laughed, actually laughed, and told me he already knew. My affair, the stolen hours, the hurried texts, the tangled sheets with someone who made me feel seen, had been nothing but a show he'd paid for. My lover, my so-called secret, was on my husband's payroll. Every late-night meeting, every passionate message, was orchestrated. My feelings hadn't just been misplaced, they'd been manufactured. Suddenly, every memory rewound in my head with bitter clarity, the way my lover always had the perfect excuse, the way he'd steer conversations away from the future, the way he'd disappear whenever my husband was home. The truth tasted like acid, burning away every shred of rebellion I'd felt. My husband told me he'd done it to keep me occupied, so he could focus on his work without the burden of my loneliness. He said he loved me, but he couldn't be everything for me, and this had seemed like the simplest solution. I didn't know what was worse, the betrayal of my body, or the betrayal of my trust. I wanted to scream, to throw something, to demand why he hadn't just spoken to me, why he'd turned my life into a twisted game. But the worst part was realizing how much I'd wanted to be distracted. I'd thrown myself into the affair because it was easier than facing the emptiness in our marriage. Now, sitting across from the man I'd promised everything to, I couldn't tell who had betrayed whom more. All I could do was stare at the table, silent, as the truth settled in. I'd been looking for someone to make me feel alive, and instead, I'd ended up more lost than ever.